Patrick Dorgu is the match winner on this Boxing Day evening for Manchester United, scoring the winning goal for the Red Devils against Newcastle United. And it's 1-0 for Manchester United. And this is the post-match analysis to this game. And we just start with the first half, with the first minutes of the game. It is Newcastle which is coming on strong into the game with a good face, with good pace and with good attacks. But this is like the first 10 to 20 minutes. And then we have Manchester United is coming better into the game with good counter attacks and also good transitions into the offense. And you have to say that then Patrick Dorgu is a very good player when it comes to these transitions and is very a weapon, like is Mateusz Cunha and also Mason Mount and Benjamin Šeško, which played up in front with him. All these four offensive players have a lot of pace, a lot of acceleration, and you could see that Ruben Amorim was just trying to play a game where the squad is standing well in the defense, has a good defense, and coming out of a solid defense with the goal to do not concede a goal and to play to nil, which was successful. They succeeded in playing 1-0 and remaining a clean sheet, which was very important for Manchester United, which was struggling the whole season to get this solid defense, to get clean sheets and to do not concede goals, to have a good defense. Main part in that was playing Lisandro Martinez, who was the captain again and was playing a great match in the defense with a lot of good scenes. But first, back to Patrick Dorgu and the offensive play of Manchester United. You could see that after this 10 to 15 minutes where Newcastle was good in terms of crosses, they had one dangerous corner from Sandro Tonali, and then it was a good header. But after this, the game was changing and Manchester United was becoming stronger and stronger, which was the cause was that Man U was very strong in terms of pressing, in terms of duels, in terms of intensity. Mason Mount was there was a high agility of the players up front from Mason Mount, also Cunha, but especially Dorgu and Šeško, who pressed with high intensity, with high pace, a lot of sprints, a lot of intense runs from all these players. And this was very good, and they had a good pressing. And with that came the counter-attack to the 1-0 with Patrick Dorgu then scoring the 1-0, or it was not a counter-attack, it was a corner, but there were very good counter-attacks played out quite well. Cunha had like one very good space, very good situation where he was playing the ball left a bit too far then, I think for Mason Mount it was, or Šeško, but it was a great chance. And before that, Cunha himself created a good chance, always there on the left wing, creating some chances and situations, which was really good. And then it was the corner, and it was from a German perspective, unfortunately, Nick Woltermacher, who was getting the ball out with a header, but then the ball falls directly to Patrick Dorgu, who has too much space. But he is taking the ball perfectly, and it's a dream goal. Goal to dream of from Patrick Dorgu, the man who came from US Lecce. I saw a game 1 or 2 years ago when he was playing as a really, really young guy with 19 or 20 years old at Lecce, where I saw a kind of similar game from US Lecce against, I think, FC Empoli or FC Venezia, a very small club in the Serie A too. It was like a Serie A game between the 18th and 19th of the table there in the Italian league. It was like a game against relegation to minor teams in the Serie A. and it was like very interesting because Patrick Dorgu was the one guy at US Lecce who was having this pace, this acceleration, this special something to always create something through a dribbling, through a space, and he was the guy who made the winning goal in this game and was giving US Lecce a 1-0 victory, like he did now tonight at this Boxing Day for Manchester United against Newcastle United in an even better league in the English Premier League. And from this day on, I follow a bit the way of Patrick Dorgu. It was like I wanted to have a view on the Italian Serie A back then from perspective, like watching Lecce, watching like Empoli, smaller clubs in the Serie A, to see how the Italian football is in reality. And I thought at that point, as I saw Patrick Dorgu, he is a player with much potential. He was playing a great game, and this was just a goal to dream of, and it was the well-deserved winning goal. I think it's a very nice fact that this goal is also the winning goal for Manchester United. After that, as I said before and after, there were good transitions, good counter-attacks from Manchester United. Cunha had great moves, dribblings. Mason Mount was playing with a high agility and intensity. I think against the ball had some actions with the ball, not that much like Dorgu and Cunha, you have to say that. And Šeško was very good, in my opinion, in the first half in playing this classical number 9, keeping the balls, and then keeping the balls and playing the balls to his teammates, and just controlling the balls. When there was a long ball, he controlled them. He created then the space for the others. He won the duels. He used his physics also and his body, which was really good in like controlling these balls, these long balls, giving his teammates time to push up front, and then play the ball to Cunha, to Dorgu, to Mount, especially to Cunha, who was for me very good player on this Boxing Day evening. The players who can create something with the ball. And Benjamin Šeško, I think, was great in like this controlling the ball, but also technically how he used his technique to sometimes create something special and to show his great technique in creating situations and spaces for his teammates. So this was like very good. Then also well fixed with Manuel Ugarte and Casemiro on the double six. I think it was the first time that Ruben Amorim, the manager of Man U, had this 4-2-3-1 formation that we see here. Of course, someone like Bruno Fernandes is missing on this number 10 position, but I think Mason Mount did a solid job in the first half. He was going out then. He was substituted in the halftime for a very young player then. I think for Jack Fletcher, for one of the guys from the academy. I think he's one of these big talents. Jack Fletcher, one of the sons of Darren Fletcher, of this big legend from Manchester United. As far as I've well informed, if there are some things that are missing, then please just leave a comment and tell me about it, because I'm like a German football fan following the Premier League besides the German Bundesliga, of course, and Champions League and other competitions in world football. And Mason Mount was doing it quite alright, I think, when we talk about the work against the ball. Like, I saw a lot of sprints from him, I saw a lot of pressing, I saw a lot of intensity. And then maybe Ruben Amorim wanted to give Jack Fletcher a chance, a guy from the academy, just to say, I want these guys from the academy, I want young players to give them a chance. But maybe also it was the case that Mason Mount was like a little bit injured and he wanted to protect him and make sure that the injury is not getting bigger. It was like a tactical thing. I don't know, but maybe Mason Mount is also a bit injured or not on his 100% level, but I think he was doing okay as like a number two behind Bruno Fernandes especially when it comes to work against the ball, good pressing, good intensity from Mason Mount. Um, yeah, we had like this story in the first half that Newcastle was not creating much besides of corners. There was some danger coming out of set pieces, and there was this one good corner, and there were a bit of offensive play. But then we had like the first half, Newcastle with a better quote in terms of passing, and like with more possession. But Manchester United, less possession, not so good passing quote, or passing accuracy. I think this is the right word. Um, but Manchester United with far more expected goals, shots on target. I think total shots 2, and they were a more dangerous team, like playing with this very good counter game. There was very good playing in after winning the ball. The transitions into the offense were very good from Manchester United. You could see that this is a main point for Ruben Amorim, and you could see that he wanted them to play defensively also in a home game, just leaving the possession. Also in the first half, where I would say Man U was clearly the better team, had more chances, had more dominance in terms of like creating more in the offensive and being the more dangerous team. But also in the first half, Newcastle had even then more possession. Although Manchester United is playing at home and creating more and doing more in the offensive effectively when it comes to chances inside the box. Like when we think of Cunha with his good shot from the left side, when we think of Dorgu's great goal, when we think of another good chance from, I think Dorgu had another good chance. Yeah, where it was like trying to surprise the goalkeeper in the short right corner. Yeah, you have to say that they were clearly the better team with less possession, and I think this is the second thing which we can analyze tactically after this first point, like which I said that the transitions into the offensive play are very good and very important under Ruben Amorim. That also now this focus on standing good defensively, was like the second main point for Ruben Amorim. Do not let the opponent get too many chances and create too much. And of course, in the second half, Newcastle was like kind of dominating and clearly the better team and created much more chances and were sometimes a bit dangerous, but it was not that Newcastle had this one big chance and another big chance and this kind of power play where you say, they're so much better and they would deserve the 1-1 at least and they would deserve a win. I come to that later on when we look at the expected goals and to the statistics and data and numbers to the match. I think then I can say properly what I want to say. But it was like in the second half it was not perfect, but it was okay. But first half, little conclusion to that, well deserved this 1-0 result for Manchester United for the first half. Great goal from Patrick Dorgu. Clear plan of the manager, which I would say in the first half it was 100% a plan of Ruben Amorim coming to a positive end, I would say. Yeah. So it was playing out quite well for the first half. That's what I mean. And you can see that in like Newcastle had 0.13 expected goals, which is nearly nothing. There was this one header, I think, from Bruno Guimaraes. I think it was after the corner from the left side from Sandro Tonali, and there was not much more. There were nearly no chances, and we had this one very good cross from the right side from Jacob Murphy, from the right winger of Newcastle, where Lisandro Martinez as the left central back was doing it perfectly, as in the German commentary, Didi Hamann, who played for Liverpool, said it was like he is doing the slide in a bit, but not that he will make an own goal, but also he's doing the slide so that Voltemada, I think, behind him does not have the chance to get to the ball. So he's defending the opponent striker with Voltemada, also defending the own goal, and yeah, like doing the right thing to not make an own goal. And this was really great. Yeah, and he like with Heaven on his right side, we're doing a good job. Heaven was strong in terms of the duels in the air, like with his headers. He won a lot of duels in the air, which was really good. I have here Lenioro, just because the card of Heaven does not exist in this FIFA or EA Sports FC 25 version, which is from summer 2024, and Heaven was too young then, and I think playing in the Manchester United academy, and there was not a card yet for him. So Lenioro is just like the guy where you can think that Heaven is there, just like a placeholder of some sorts. Yeah, this can be said about this first half. This great one moment also from Lisandro Martinez, who was making a great match, who was having a huge impact on this clean sheet that Manchester United finally got. And now we can talk about the second half. Second half, the story is very short, and it's very fast told, because yeah, I think Newcastle had 80% possession. Newcastle was dominating. Newcastle was having much more of the game, and Manchester United was standing very, very deep. A good, yeah, a good, how do you say? They were standing deeper than in the first half. That's what I mean. And yeah, staying very deep and just leaving the possession to Newcastle. Newcastle was creating chances, more and more chances, and they were getting, in terms of chances, kind of, they were getting into dangerous spaces, but they were not using the spaces quite well. The efficiency in front of the goal was not good. The shots were not good. There were many shots, but very less on target. The accuracy was just lacking, was not there. They were lacking the accuracy, Newcastle, and this is for me the main reason why they did not done it to get the equalizer, that they did not equalize, because like this efficiency in front of the goal was not good. A lot of shots going high over the target, or yeah, far away from the goal. But you can state positively about Newcastle's play in the second half, of course, that they were like there was more pace, there was more pressure putting on Manchester United, and Manchester United was just, yeah, a bit too defensive maybe in sorts. You can criticize that too, but in the end, we're getting the win, and for me, football is always a result sport. Sure, the second half for a home game in Old Trafford is not perfectly played out. Yeah, from Manchester United perspective, you could say you could need more transitions into the front, a bit more possession, a bit more also rest with the ball, that you have longer phases with the ball where you can breathe a bit, where you can get a bit of possession, and then also come into counter attacks and creating chances on your own in the front, and coming out of this very, very deep standing defensive lines. But Newcastle was doing it quite all right. And what they were doing good was like, there were some good crosses, but there were some one or two situations where they played it out very well with passes into the space, with passes deep behind the lines of Manchester United, even if, although there was not much deep space that you can play behind the lines, because Manu was standing that deep all inside or around the own box. But there were one or two situations where Newcastle played it quite well with good passes. Anthony Gordon was initiating a lot, but also Anthony Gordon was one, which Didi Hamann also said, who had a lot of crosses which were, yes, sometimes they were good, sometimes they were good, and there were crosses where I say there was this one or two chances for headers for Newcastle United. Others were just well defended from heaven, or others from Manchester United. You have to say that as well. A lot of crosses, a lot of long balls, a lot of situations were also defended quite all right, and a lot of chances and shots that Newcastle had were also for me not often not on target, because yeah, Manu was trying to defend well. It was not perfect. It was not that they were standing there like a rock and Newcastle had no chance to create something, but it was like that they're, even when they stand very deep and were just defending for like 45 minutes in the second half, except one chance from Diogo Dalot after the long free kick from Lisandro Martinez, there was nothing in front, and this was through a set piece. There were one or two kind of counter attacks, but not very well played out. When then it was Patrick Dorgu also with his pace creating something like a counter attack in the second half, doing this quite alright as well. But yeah, there were like two less players going up in front with him, supporting him, teammates or spaces where he can play the ball then. So he was like mostly then turning back and playing the ball back. And then maybe this is one critique point that I want to bring on Manchester United. When they had the ball, it was like Patrick Dorgu making it very good, trying to create a counter and maybe going for a 2-0 when there would have been the space or the teammates, what he can use, where he can play this counter attack. But then he was like turning back when he saw, okay, there is no teammate, I can play the ball, there's no space, I can attack. Then I turn around and play back, which is for me the right decision. And then it was sometimes one or two situations also Lisandro Martinez directly playing the ball up in front, long balls. He's playing very good long balls, you have to say that. Don't misunderstand me here. The long ball to Diogo Dalot was like sugar, was really good. You can see his very good left foot, his technical skills. But sometimes I would say Patrick Dorgu is already scanning the field then and seeing, even with his pace, there is no possibility to play out this counter. So we have to turn back. So we have to play a bit here with possession, play with rest. And then it's Lisandro Martinez or others are coming. And for me, sometimes the long ball then up in front. And these were long balls that were good too. And sometimes it was like just a bit missing, that there was a chance to get this counter done and to maybe get a great chance to 2-0. But I would have said, maybe if I would be the manager and I would be at the room with the players after the game, I would have say after the match, I would have said, I think sometimes a bit more rest than giving yourself a bit more rest than in terms of being in possession. Then maybe when Lisandro Martinez has the ball, play it not deep in front, but play it to your teammate in the central back, play some passes, give yourself some time to pause, to breathe a bit, and to let the opponent run behind the ball and give yourself some possession. But yeah, this is one of the critique points. The other hand is the perspective of Newcastle as well. Again, as I say, more pace, some substitutes which were good for the game of Newcastle, especially Joe Linton was making good appearance for me. Willock with his presence in the box, sure. There were some player, Harvey Barnes coming in, especially him, also a good player on the right wing. They have a very good squad, and I would say the bench was broader and better on this day than the bench of Manchester United, where I think, I have here the bench. Here are the 3 players where you can say these are the 3 pro players who are like playing on a pro level for a few years, and the other 6 ones I cannot add here in this EA Sports FIFA FC 25 edition because they do not have a card yet. And yeah, just like these 6 places, you can Imagine the 5 or 6 players from the academy which were there, and they are all, I think, between 17 and 19, if I'm right informed. As I said, when there's something that I'm missing out or you think about, leave a comment. I'm also very happy when you comment something. I'm always happy when we can discuss a bit in the comments about this and that, about tactics, about the manager, about substitutions, or anything which, yeah, is referring to the game I'm talking about. So yeah, feel free to comment. I'm always happy to discuss a bit in the comments and to talk with you there. But yeah, this is like the bench for me. There was more quality from Newcastle. It was a broader, better bench. On this day, there were good substitutions. There was like more activeness, more pace in the game of Newcastle. There were 1 or 2 situations where they played it quite well, but also they were lacking a bit the creativity and especially, as I said, the efficiency, the accuracy in their shots. Very much shots, as I said, not that much on target, less on target. And this is for me the main problem. And also Manchester United, which was, yeah, standing a bit too deep, maybe a bit too inactive, bit too less possession, maybe some too less rest with the ball than when they had the ball in the second half. This would be my critique points that are for me valid and where you could say, okay, this can be better. And I'm sure Ruben Amorim will, yeah, refer to such points, some sorts, and say this and this and that in the second half can be done, can be handled better. Yeah, I'm sure of that. But they've done it and they defended all right. When it comes to all the crosses, there were a lot of duels that they won in the air. There was like Heaven playing a great match over 90 minutes. Lisandro Martinez was playing a great match, and which is very important and what I want to state out at the end of the video. Then we come to some numbers, and then we come to the end of the video. Is like the team spirit, and the body language which Manchester United showed gave me over 90 minutes always this feeling in my conscience, in my mind, always this feeling in the back of my mind. I think Manchester United is winning this. This body language is good. They're pushing each other. They have a very good team spirit. And this was like a thing where I always thought, Newcastle is now better. Newcastle is creating something, but first they stand very deep and they defend it all right in the most situations. There are not that huge chances for Newcastle or bad defending from Manchester United where you think now Newcastle has to score or it is like well deserved now. But always like this, Man U is fighting. They're fighting for each other. They are a team. They're pushing each other. A lot of clapping on each other's shoulders and pushing each other. And a lot of players coming to Patrick Dorgu and clapping his hand and clapping on his shoulder and saying, hey, well done, lad, you're doing a great job here. And I think this is very nice when you see then Casemiro, Ugarte, or Luke Shaw, other older players coming to a younger player like Patrick Dorgu or Diogo Dalot, like coming to the younger players and saying them, you do a great job, or Heaven was pushed well from Martinez, who is like more experienced. And this was a very good point. The other point is, and then it was all right. And the last point is for me, that is what I wanted to say. The numbers of the game, we had like the expected goals I already talked about. In total, we have like expected goals which are equal. So for sure, from all the chances that Newcastle created, we have like 1.17 to 1.18. Yeah, sure, from all the chances, a 1-1 would be deserved. And it was a lot of pressure from Newcastle. Newcastle was clearly the better team in the second half, and some things were a bit too less from Manchester United. But as I said, this feeling which you have when you watch a game, this team spirit, this stuff, sometimes such things can, say, because expected goals is statistics, it's mathematics, and football is much more than that. And sometimes when there's more body language and more spirit in one's team, then yeah, the other team has it very hard to score a goal. And this was for me also the case. Yeah, like shots in total, we have 16-9 for Newcastle. For sure, when we look at the statistics, a 1-1 would be also deserved when we look there from a very logical, mathematical perspective, as I said. So you could say, yeah, it was a bit lucky that Manchester United won, but for me it was also deserved in a way. This is what my opinion is on this game. This is what I think. Yeah, Newcastle also was playing 621 passes, Manchester United 326. Newcastle nearly played the double amount of passes. And there were a lot of passes from Newcastle in the own half. In the first half, a lot of passes which created nothing. Just passes from the one central back to the other. And yeah, with no win of spaces, with no meaning, I would say. So this is nice too to see this statistic. Passing growth of Newcastle is 10% better. This is not something which is surprising. Possession is 67% for Newcastle, 33 for Manchester United. Also underlining, which I was saying already, I think Newcastle had 38 crosses, but just the accuracy of 16%, really finding their way to the goal or to the aimed striker. So they had a lot of crosses, but not the best quality of crosses, as I said already. Yeah, and the duels also bit for Newcastle, okay, but yeah, 55% duels won by Newcastle, 62 in the air for Newcastle. You have to give them the credit. They were there and they were not bad, but they were missing this accuracy, this efficiency in front of the goal, as I said, for me. And Manchester United was playing 9 fouls and Newcastle 5, so Man U was playing more fouls. This is for me logical as well. They were a bit sharper, I think. Yeah, Newcastle won more duels in the air, especially, but also on the ground. Okay, but Man U was a bit this body language. Yeah, they're playing more fouls. Yeah, and sometimes you can play fouls to get the opponent out of the rhythm, to create something, to create interruptions and stuff like that. And then we have 11-2 corners for Newcastle. As I said, a lot of stuff where you can say logically 1-1 would be deserved, but this is a game where I say for sure the expected goals, the corners, the possession is showing that a 1-1 would be okay, but the numbers are also showing this team has so much more possession and so much more passes, but they created just the equal amount of expected goals and they had more shots in total, but I think not more shots on target. So you see, there were also a lot of possession and a lot of passes from Newcastle, which created very less. Yeah, and you could also say Manchester United was not in need of that much possession and that much passes and all that stuff to have a very great goal and to have 2 or 3 equal big chances on top as Newcastle did. So for me, and with this thing, team spirit, body language, pushing each other, yeah, where you think, there's developing something under Ruben Amorim there in Manchester for Manchester United in the Old Trafford, it is also deserved that they win this thing 1-0, this Boxing Day match, and remaining their clean sheet. I think the first time or second time just in the season, which was the goal, and they got it. And in a way, for me, they deserved it. Thank you very much for the attention. This was my post-match analysis to this Boxing Day evening. Manchester United winning 1-0 against Newcastle United. Very good and nice football match, as mostly in the Premier League, especially for me from a German perspective, it is the best football league in the world, best national football league in the world, and it's always a blast for me to see it, and it was a good match. Yeah, leave some comments if you want. yeah, leave me your opinion on the match or some facts that you want to drop. Yeah, feel free to comment. I'm always happy to see that, and it's good for the algorithm, and it's good for me, for us to discuss a bit. It's always fun. And yeah, leave a subscribe if you want to support the channel and if you want to see further content, because I'm, yeah, always happy to develop some content and to make some analysis and other videos. Catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.